Good morning, dear viewers. Welcome to DD News Meghalaya. You're watching Breakfast News. Grab a cup of coffee or tea as we bring you the headlines. Meghalaya Chief Minister Conrad K. Sangma, church leaders meet Amit Shah over FCRA concerns affecting social institutions. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates Rs 480 crore world-class terminal at Jodhpur Airport to boost connectivity. Six killed as Mumbai Chawl collapses in Mankurd amid torrential monsoon rains. And Holland stuns Brazil as Norway reach World Cup quarterfinals with 2-1 win. And now the news in detail. First, the local news. Meghalaya Chief Minister Conrad K. Sangma, accompanied by a delegation of senior church and community leaders, met Union Home Minister Amit Shah in New Delhi to discuss concerns over certain provisions of the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act (FCRA) and the proposed amendments to the law. The delegation highlighted the impact of the FCRA on religious, educational, healthcare and charitable institutions that provide vital services across Meghalaya, particularly in rural areas. The Chief Minister urged the centre to consider the state's unique circumstances and ensure that genuine public service institutions can continue their work without disruption. Moving on to the regional news. Assam has designated 112 as the single point contact number for all emergency response services. The unified helpline will provide integrated access to police, fire, medical and other emergency assistance through one common platform.
Attack. There are many state government in our country who has activated 112 for people in distress, people who are being criminally attacked. They can call 112 and police can reach immediately. Today, Assam Cabinet has approved a proposal with rupees 100 crore to introduce 112 and create 200 mobile PS-like vehicle for to assist people in distress. So that will be a new initiative of Assam government. The control room will be established in Dergaon, Lasit Borfukan Police Academy. From there, entire operation will be run.
And now the national news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has inaugurated the new terminal building at Jodhpur Airport. Built at a cost of Rs 480 crore, spread across 23,000 square meters. The state-of-art terminal combines traditional Rajasthani architecture with modern passenger amenities. The new terminal is expected to enhance regional air connectivity, boost tourism and strengthen trade and economic activity in Rajasthan's Blue City. Union Home Minister Amit Shah, along with Coal and Mines Minister G. Kishan Reddy, reviewed the issue of illegal coal mining and coal theft at high-level meeting in New Delhi. Expressing concern over situation in Dhanbad and adjoining areas, Shah directed officials to adopt a zero coal leakage plan for a time-bound crackdown on illegal mining and unauthorized coal transportation. The Home Minister also ordered priority deployment of CISF personnel in vulnerable coalfields, greater use of higher resolution surveillance cameras to identify offenders, and regular monitoring of enforcement measures. The Chemicals and Fertilizers Ministry has said that 15 vessels carrying fertilizers and fertilizer raw materials have safely crossed the Strait of Hormuz and are headed to India. The cargo includes urea, diammonium phosphate and sulfur, with 5 more vessels expected to sail for India in coming days. Union Chemicals and Fertilizer Minister J.P. Nadda said the West Asia conflict had disrupted global supply chains, leading to higher fertilizer prices and longer transit times. He said Indian missions abroad played a key role in connecting the Department of Fertilizers with alternative global producers and suppliers. The minister added that the department is working closely with the state government to ensure adequate fertilizer availability and transport distribution across the country. The foundation stone for South Asia's largest private sector missile ecosystem has been laid in Shivpuri, Madhya Pradesh, marking the launch of a Rs 2,500 crore state-of-art defence manufacturing plant by Adani Defence. The project was inaugurated in the presence of Chief Minister Dr. Mohan Yadav. The initiative, backed under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, is expected to strengthen India's defence self-reliance and contribute to the vision of developed India by 2047. Officials said that the project will generate large-scale employment and transform the Gwalior-Chambal region into a key defence manufacturing hub.
वो शक्ति आपका प्रेम और आशीर्वाद है मेरे भाई और बहनों। उस क्षेत्र का औद्योगिकरण करना मेरा दायित्व नहीं बनता, इस क्षेत्र का औद्योगिकरण करना मेरा धर्म बनता है मेरे भाई और बहनों। इस फैक्ट्री से जहां 3,500, 4,000 लोगों को प्रत्यक्ष और अप्रत्यक्ष रूप से रोजगार मिलेगा, छोटे व्यापारियों के द्वार खुलेंगे व्यापार के। भारत का नाम सुने, शिवपुरी का नाम सुनहरे अक्षरों में लिखा जाएगा। जब भगवान न करे, अगर भविष्य में युद्ध होगा, यहाँ से बारूद जाएगी, यहाँ से ऐसा मिसाइल जाएगा, और जब दुश्मन को चीर करेंगे, उसमें शिवपुरी के नौजवानों की मेहनत, पसीना होगा मेरे भाई।
The 25th edition of DD Robocon 2026 concluded at IIT Delhi, showcasing some of India's brightest young engineering talents in robotics and innovation. LD College of Engineering Ahmedabad emerged as a national champions and will represent India at ABU Asia Pacific Robot Contest 2026 in Hong Kong. Prasar Bharati CEO Gaurav Dwivedi said platforms like DD Robocon encourage innovation, teamwork and problem solving while helping young minds turn ideas into practical solutions.
The way that startups have been coming up, the way that innovations are being recognized, the way that innovations are being incubated and accelerated, the amount of thrust that the government is putting on enabling the younger generation to convert their ideas into action I think these are opportunities which have never been this immense and this easily available in the last several decades. Spirit of sportsmanship and brotherhood, and also gives an opportunity for each one of you to show how you can convert ideas into action.
At least 6 people have been killed at a chawl collapsed in Mumbai's Mankurd area amid relentless monsoon rains. Rescue teams are continuing search and relief operations with fears that several people may still be trapped beneath the debris. Authorities are closely monitoring the situation as emergency efforts continue. News across the globe. India's ambassador to Indonesia, Sandeep Chakraborty, has said Prime Minister Narendra Modi's upcoming visit to Indonesia will further strengthen bilateral ties across key sectors including defense, trade, health, agriculture, science and technology and critical minerals. The visit is expected to deepen the comprehensive strategic partnership with focus on defense cooperation, maritime security, naval exchanges and strategic port development. It also enhances Indo-Pacific engagement and boosts people-to-people ties through education and skill development.
You see, India and Indonesia are comprehensive strategic partners. This is Prime Minister Modi's fourth visit to Indonesia since he assumed power. Our ties have been historically very strong and very cordial and friendly. Prime Minister Modi's visit will further intensify those ties and build cooperation in many areas and open up new areas of cooperation, whether it is in manufacturing, whether it is in science and technology, space, nuclear, or even educational exchanges. So it's a multifaceted relationship, and I think in the current geopolitical context where there is so much of turmoil in the world, India and Indonesia working together, I think, gives a strong message to the world. There will be several. It is difficult for me to mention one, but there will be agreements in health sector, in agriculture, in food security, in science and technology, space, pharmaceuticals, in education, in manufacturing, in critical minerals. So there are many, and I think Prime Minister Modi's visit will open up new chapters of cooperation. It will give a boost to what is happening already. The base with Indonesia is strong, and his presence here will give further boost to whatever is happening, not only at the governmental level but also at the business to business level, at the people to people level. And I am very, very confident that you will see a greater intensification of our ties after the visit. You see, in 2018 when Prime Minister was here, we launched the comprehensive strategic partnership with Indonesia. Since then, several things have happened in many pillars, importantly in the defense and security pillar also. We now have a robust defense cooperation with Indonesia. We are now venturing into defense industry also. We are venturing into defense equipment also. There are advanced discussions on BrahMos, as you may have heard before. So new areas of cooperation have emerged out of this strategic comprehensive strategic partnership. We will be having a renewal of our agreement with between the two coast guards. That is very significant. We are maritime neighbors, so coast guards of both countries play an important role. There are discussions on several other navy to navy exchanges. There will also be discussions on the defense issues, including possibilities of defense industry cooperation. And of course, we will want to get more involved in infrastructure development, in port development. We know we are there is interest in the Great Nicobar port, which is coming up not very far from Indonesia. India and Indonesia, the distance is only 160 kilometers, so we are maritime neighbors. So there is interest in port development with India. So I believe that the discussions will be multifaceted. It's difficult to restrict it to one area, but one thing is very sure, that there is great deal of excitement and interest in the visit, and Prime Minister Modi will be given a very warm welcome when he lands here tomorrow. I believe that the India and Indonesia are two major powers in the Indo-Pacific region. They're the two bookends. Indonesia is a big country. We sometimes don't realize that it has a population of almost 300 million, but it is spread over a wide geography. From very close to Andaman and Nicobar Islands to almost reaching eastern Australia. So the entire Indian and Pacific Ocean breadth is quite covered by Indonesia. So what we do with Indonesia has a positive impact on India's Indo-Pacific policy. People-to-people tie are the cornerstone, the basis of this relationship, and this is not a new relationship. Our peoples have been interacting with each other through centuries, and for that reason Prime Minister will be travelling to Yogyakarta, which interestingly is named after Ayodhya, and that is one example. On the other side, I think greater connectivity is needed between the two countries. There will be discussions and announcements in the educational sector, how India can work with Indonesia to build capacity. There will be also announcements in the health sector, capacity building, skill training. I think these are the areas where you really make a difference as far as people-to-people ties are concerned.
External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, during his visit to Qatar, interacted with members of Indian community and lauded their contribution to Qatari society, especially during challenging times. He reaffirmed the government's commitment to the welfare of the Indian diaspora and highlighted its importance in India's engagement with the region. The minister also appreciated the community's valuable suggestions and experience, saying they would help further strengthen the India-Qatar partnership. Now in sports. The Save Trees team emerged champions of the 8th All Meghalaya Masters Table Tennis Team Championship, organized by Meghalaya Veteran Table Tennis Association at Polo Stadium, Shillong, to mark World Environment Day. The team defeated Save Earth 3-2 in a closely fought final, with Ratan Viswakarma sealing the title-winning victory. Arup Nag of Tura, representing the Save Earth team, was named player of the tournament after remaining unbeaten throughout the competition. Veteran paddler Taraman Gurung received a special award for his outstanding contribution to table tennis. Meghalaya MLA A.L. Heck attended the prize distribution ceremony as the chief guest. Norway stunned 5-time champions Brazil with a 2-1 victory in their FIFA World Cup round of 16 clash at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. After a goalless first half, Erling Haaland scored twice in the closing stages to seal Norway's place in the quarterfinals, despite Neymar pulling one back from the penalty spot in stoppage time. Earlier, Norwegian goalkeeper Orjan Nyland produced a crucial penalty save to deny Bruno Guimarães. The defeat marks Brazil's earliest FIFA World Cup exit since 1990, while Norway advances to the last 8 with a memorable victory.
One with Gabriel. Sheldrap's ball in. Oh, and it nearly dropped for Haaland. You could see his frustration there. Just a little deflection took it away. And Danilo Santos into the midfield. Neymar. He's been busy since he came. Haaland scores again! Norway lead! The Northern Lights are shining! Sheldrap's been brilliant since he came on. Haaland, he wants another one. He's got another one. How about that? Extraordinary. Just phenomenal. Brazil now surely going home. For the great coach. Is he pointing to the penalty spot here? But he's not saving that one. Neymar gets himself on the World Cup score sheet and still chats away to Nyland about what I have absolutely no idea. The goalkeeper's been brilliant. It's 2-1, but...
Australia have lifted their record-extending 7th T20 World Cup title after defeating England in the grand finale. England posted 150/4 in 20 overs, with Nat Sciver-Brunt scoring 58 and Freya Kemp remaining unbeaten on 44. In reply, Australia chased down the target comfortably, reaching 153/3 in 17.1 overs. Bet Mooney starred with a match-winning 64 and was named player of the match, while Phoebe Litchfield added a quick 48 to guide Australia to victory.
We've seen some boundaries. He's seen the first six. Bowls up. What a fight back from Molyneux. And it's another 50 for the England captain. Pushes across, she goes straight, and the Australians just drop it in behind her. That's what she was looking for, Freya Kemp. It gets England to 150 after being sent in by Australia.
Against one of the great cricket sides. Now, they've gone on with the arm and given.
And now for the weather report. First, let's take a look at the weather report in Tura. Minimum temperature 24 degrees Celsius, maximum temperature 31 degrees Celsius. The relative humidity is 73%, rainfall 16 millimeters. Moving on to Shillong, minimum temperature 19 degrees Celsius, maximum temperature 26 degrees Celsius. The relative humidity is 68%, rainfall 4 millimeters. Meanwhile, in Jovai, minimum temperature 19 degrees Celsius, maximum temperature 26 degrees Celsius. The relative humidity is 66%, rainfall 7 millimeters. And the forecast in Tura, Shillong and Jovai says moderate rain with thunderstorms likely at many places. Let's take a recap of the headlines. Meghalaya Chief Minister Conrad Sangma, church leaders meet Amit Shah over FCRA concerns affecting social institutions. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates Rs 480 crore world-class terminal at Jodhpur Airport to boost connectivity. Six killed as Mumbai Chawl collapses in Mankud amid torrential monsoon rains. And Holland brace stuns Brazil as Norway reach World Cup quarter-finals with 2-1 win. Thank you for watching the Breakfast News. Stay tuned as we bring you the Khasi News Bulletin up next. You can also follow us on our social media platforms for latest news updates. This is Naveli Singh signing off. Until then, have a wonderful day. Goodbye.
Beautiful.